lineup. See, you judge a young manager, or a manager period, really, when he comes into an organization. You judge him based off how much the team improves, how much you get out of your team, based on the talent level of the players. Do you work well with the younger guys? Like, how much you squeeze everything and more out of these guys? The moves that you make, and are they willing to go above and beyond to fight for you? It's impressive what Chris Woodward has come in and done with a team that wasn't expected to even come close to sniffing 500. Now, I get it. It's still really early in the year. But to be honest, I didn't expect anywhere close to this for the first 2.5 months of the season. I like Chris Woodward. I like him a lot. And I thought, this is such a terrible situation for him. Like, they have some young bats. They have some guys that can hit. But I'm thinking to myself, like, they don't have any starting pitching, any at all. And outside of Leclerc, they don't have any bullpen. Like, what are they going to do? Like, well, they're going to wind up being, a last place, basement dweller in the American League West. But because of all that, and them being above 500 at this point, I would definitely have Chris Woodward as a dark horse American League Manager of the Year candidate thus far. We'll see how they continue, but as of right now, they look like a team that, you know what, maybe they could be around 500 this year, taking steps forward to, maybe, try to make a wild card spot within the next couple of years. Who knows? Then there's Subway Series baseball. Now, it's not what it once was. Everybody looking forward to the Mets and Yankees going head to head. Like, I'm sure there are some people that are still, hardcore with this. But it's not the same. It just isn't. It doesn't have that same feel to it. But there's always a little extra to the Yankees and Mets being on the same field. It also gives us an opportunity to really take a look at where they are and, magnify on the surprises, the downsides, a lot of things about these two teams that either, you weren't expecting. Either way, negatively or positively, how the managers have done, how the young guys have played, the new signings. Tonight and tomorrow's games are in the Bronx at Yankee Stadium. Masahiro Tanaka versus Jason Vargas. That's what is scheduled. I'm sure tonight's game will wind up being rained out. So that could probably change. As great as Vargas has been, I could see, I could see, the Mets skipping Vargas' start just because, I don't think they're all in when it comes to trusting him yet, but he's been excellent. Both of these veterans are unpredictable. You never know which guy you're going to get. Now, both of these guys have been better than I expected. Now, Tanaka, I've always talked about being the guy that, everybody wanted him to be an ace. Everybody was kind of hoping that he would become that guy. And he never really got there. He's a mixed bag to me. Like, throughout his career, he's the kind of guy who he can be fantastic. He can be awesome. Everything is working for Tanaka, and he looks unhittable. And then he hits the 5th or 6th inning, and, well, everything could fall apart for him. So he's one of those guys that either gets shelled early or everything is working for him. He has great innings or terrible innings. There is no in between. Like, aces can limit the damage. It doesn't seem like Tanaka, when he has it, when he doesn't have like his stuff going, he ends up getting killed. Vargas has been a lot better than I expected. I've mentioned before, I was one of those people who thought that Vargas shouldn't be in the rotation, that the Mets should go out and get Dallas Keuchel and, or Gio Gonzalez or somebody like that, because I just didn't necessarily buy into Jason Vargas because of how awful he was last year. He's a 36-year-old lefty who throws in the mid to early 80s with his fastball. I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, this guy isn't going to last very long against great teams. That's obviously changed just a bit. As once I saw him go against the Dodgers in LA, and for him to pitch as well as he did through 8 innings, only giving up 1 run. All right, now we're starting to see a little bit of a different guy out there. Didi Gregorius is back, and he's hit the ball very well. His defensive blunder late in yesterday's game in Cleveland shows that he's rusty. But, he hit a home run the other day. In his second game back, in his first game back, he had 2 singles. One that was hit so hard to the wall that he got thrown out at second. So there have been signs that he's good to go. They're just going to kind of hold him out. I know he tried to go over to talk to Aaron Boone and talk him into playing him in the rubber game against the Indians, and Boone just kind of walked away without saying anything. They seem to be, firm on this decision, and good for them, because it's good for, they need him long term. DJ LeMahieu has been one of the better players in the American League this year. This is another guy that I absolutely loved for them going into going into the season. When they signed him, because everybody was talking about them trying to get Machado. No, DJ LeMahieu is perfect for this lineup. Absolutely perfect for this lineup. Now, I didn't think he'd be this good. Hitting 321 is kind of what I expected. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit lower, but around 300 is where I expected. He's that kind of guy. He's driven in 41 runs. And, the guy's been arguably the best at hitting with runners in scoring position in all of baseball. He's been fantastic. Guys hit, 500 runners in scoring position. He's been through the roof. It seems like every time he comes up with runners in scoring position, he gets a base knock. That's crazy. Has Gio Urshela really been that good that teams are starting to walk him now? Or was it just a coincidence that the Indians walked him 4 times yesterday? Another surprise. Gio Urshela just kind of came in and... if you were to tell me that Gio Urshela would be hitting over 300 at this point, playing in just about every game, I don't even know what I would tell you, to be honest with you. These guys, LeMahieu and Urshela, have been a big reason why the Yankees are where they are. At the top of the division in the AL East with all their guys out. Like I said, the Yankees' record without most of their top guns is surprising. But there are plenty of surprises on the Mets side as well. Positive ones. Well, they're positive and negative, but the positive, Todd Frazier was this close to being cut, to being DFA'd. It looked like that was going to be the case when Jed Lowry was supposed to come back a month ago. But since the middle of May, Todd Frazier has not only solidified his spot in the lineup, but he's been arguably the Mets' best hitter. His average was down to 148 in May. He was so awful. He was an 0 for 4. He looked uncomfortable at the plate. His bat looked slow. He looked old. It was okay, we're ready to give up on him. Lowry's going to come back anyway. J.D. Davis is going to play more often at third base. They were ready to write off Todd Frazier. His average is now up to 265. And all of a sudden, his power looks like it's come back. He's driving runs in nearly every game for this Mets team. He's been fantastic. And he hit a home run yesterday and drove in 4 runs. He's been incredible. See, I'm not necessarily buying it yet. I'm still not. When I see Todd Frazier at the plate, I'm not thinking he's going to come up big with 2 outs and runners on. But it just continues to work out for him. Then there's a Danny Echeverria. Are the Mets sure they want Robinson Cano back in there when he comes off the injured list? I had always known Echeverria as, back when he was with Miami. I'm not sure if he was with Tampa Bay or not. I know he was with the Yankees for a short period of time. He was a defensive player. He was a very good defensive shortstop. With little to no bat. But he has been impressive. He may not have the best on-base percentage. His on-base percentage is under 300. But his average is higher than I expected. I expect his average to be down in the 100s. It's close to 150. It's close to 250. I'm sorry about that. And he's hitting home runs, and they're big ones. He's hit 4 home runs already this year, and he hasn't played that much. I think he has 3 3-run homers this year already. Seems like every home run he hits is big, too. He's no star, but in a short period of time, he's been better than Cano has. Cano is another kind of shock for me. I didn't expect Cano to hit over 300 like he did for his whole career. Even if you give me 270, 280, with some power, I'll take that. He's been awful. Pete Alonso is on pace to crush the Mets record for home runs in a season in his rookie year. He's on pace for 53 home runs. He's not going to hit 53 home runs, I don't think. Even though, to me, when he does something, I'm not going to count him out for it because he has that kind of power. He's going to hit 50-plus home runs eventually, if not this year. I could see him being more in the 44, 45 home run range. Luke Voit and Gary Sanchez have continued to be the power source the Yankees have needed when, while Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton went down and while they're down. These 2 teams have been rather puzzling. Now, when you look at all the injuries on the Yankees side and you look at all the improvements the Mets had made in the offseason, I expected the Mets to be a little bit better than the Yankees at this particular juncture. But, I'm sure that will make this series entertaining. because I think that they're closer to each other